All right, let's talk about something that can absolutely ruin a morning: low water pressure. In this explainer, we're going to walk you through step by step how to figure out what's going on and what to do about it. So let's get right into it.
You know the feeling. You step into the shower, you're ready for that nice, hot, powerful spray, and instead, you get this sad little trickle. It is one of the most annoying household problems, right? It messes with everything from trying to wash the soap out of your hair to just doing the dishes.
And if you're dealing with this, trust me, you are not alone. It's an incredibly common problem. Just to give you an idea, one well service company down in central Georgia got 47 calls about low water pressure in a single weekend. So yeah, it's a headache, but the good news is there's a pretty clear path to figuring it out. So to solve the problem, we first got to figure out what we're even aiming for. What is normal water pressure anyway? And how do you know if yours is actually officially low?
Okay, so water pressure is measured in something called PSI, pounds per square inch, and for most homes, the normal range is somewhere between 40 and 80. Now, anything below 40 PSI is definitely going to feel weak, but you don't want it too high either. Anything over 80 can actually start damaging your pipes and your appliances. The real sweet spot, where everything just works great, is right around 50 to 60 PSI.
All right, let's start with the really easy stuff. Before you even think about picking up the phone to call somebody, there are a few super simple checks you can do yourself in like 5 minutes. And who knows, one of these might just be the fix.
First up, find your main water valve and just make sure it's turned all the way on. You'd be surprised how often it gets partially closed by accident. Next, check the aerators on your faucets. Those are the little screens on the tip. They get clogged up with gunk all the time. Just unscrew them, let them soak in some vinegar, and that could solve it. And finally, here's a huge clue. Compare your hot and cold water. If it's only the hot water that's weak, that tells you the problem is probably with your water heater, not your whole system.
Okay, so if none of those quick fixes did the trick, it's time to put on our detective hats and dig a little deeper into the well system itself. Each step we take from here on out is going to give us another important clue.
I want you to head over to your home's main electrical panel. You know, the big metal box with all the switches. Look for the one that's labeled well pump or maybe water pump. Now, don't touch anything yet. All we're doing right now is looking. Is that switch flipped to on, or is it in the middle, or is it all the way off? Just take a look.
Now, if that breaker was tripped, meaning it was in that middle position, you're going to reset it. But listen up, you're only going to do this one time. The right way to do it is to push the switch all the way to the off position first. Wait about 30 seconds. Then flip it firmly back over to on. Okay, with the power sorted, go turn on a faucet somewhere in the house. And then just listen. Within about 30 to 60 seconds, you should hear your well pump kick on. It might be a hum you hear from the basement or a sound from outside near the well. If you hear absolute silence, nothing at all, well, that's a huge clue right there. It probably means you have an electrical problem or the pump itself has failed.
But what if the pump is running? The next question is, how is it acting? Is it just running and running and running nonstop without ever shutting off? Or is it doing this weird thing called short cycling, where it turns on, then off, then on again, like every 30 seconds? Both of those behaviors are signs that point to very different problems.
All right, I need you to listen very closely, because this is easily the most important part of our whole guide. We've gathered some clues, which is great, but now we need to draw a very, very clear line in the sand between what's safe for you to do and when you absolutely have to stop and call a professional. So let's be crystal clear. The stuff that's safe for you to do: cleaning those faucet aerators, looking around for any obvious visible leaks, and yes, resetting that breaker once. That's the DIY list. But the moment we're talking about opening up that electrical panel, doing any kind of work on the pressure tank, or touching anything related to the pump motor itself, that is a hard stop. That is a job for a licensed pro, period. You're dealing with high-pressure water and high-voltage electricity. It's just not worth the risk. And here is the single biggest safety rule of all. If you reset that breaker and it immediately trips again, like clicks right back off, stop. Do not touch it again. Do not keep trying to reset it. That is a loud and clear signal that there is a serious electrical fault somewhere, and it could even be a fire hazard. It's time to call an electrician. End of story.
So you've done all the safe checks, you've been a good detective, and you've gathered your clues. Now let's figure out what those symptoms actually mean, so if you do need to make a call, you know who to call and what to tell them.
Think of this chart as our little decoder ring. So if your pump is just running constantly, that probably means you've got a big leak somewhere, or the pump itself is just worn out. If it's cycling on and off really fast, you're likely looking at a problem with the pressure tank or a bad switch. And if you've got no sounds at all, or that breaker keeps tripping, that points straight to an electrical issue or a dead pump motor. And hey, for those of you who live in older homes, there are a couple of other usual suspects to keep in mind. Those big pressure tanks, they don't last forever, usually about 15 to 20 years. So if yours is ancient, that could be it. Same goes for old galvanized steel pipes. They can actually rust and corrode from the inside, choking off the water flow. A professional can spot these things right away.
So, what's the bottom line here? It's that you are absolutely capable of diagnosing and maybe even fixing the simplest water pressure issues all by yourself. But the real key, the smartest thing you can do, is to know your limits. Recognizing when you're seeing a serious symptom and making that call for an expert, well, that isn't giving up. That's being smart, and most importantly, it's being safe.
And that kind of leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Knowing how to react when something goes wrong is a great skill to have. But what about preventing the problem in the first place? Things like regular maintenance, maybe an annual well system inspection, they can catch these issues long before your morning shower even has a chance to turn into a frustrating trickle. And that's all for this explainer.